Hi, this is Bob Costas, and you're listening to the ML Sports Platter.
And the ML Sports Platter is back with you all over the major platforms like Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, and many others. Please download, subscribe, leave feedback, and a 5-star review. We are brought to you by Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. Go check out all of the 2- and 4-year degrees, plus their brand new programs on campus at Oswego Street and James Street, including the nursing program, BryantStratton.edu. BryantStratton.edu, Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, the official college of the ML Sports Platter. Later in this podcast, I'm going to talk to the former Ohio State superstar Bobby Carpenter, now doing amazing things as a color analyst, covering college football for the ACC Network. We'll get to that here in a bit. But before we do that, speaking of Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, I had an opportunity recently to talk to several of the players on the women's basketball team in anticipation of the 2021-2022 campaign under head coach Clay Sherman. Here are those interviews. It is Bryant and Stratton College Women's Basketball Media Day. I'm Mike Lindsley, Eunice Silong with us here with the Bobcats. You've got an interesting journey that you came over here with. Just tell my audience, where are you from and how did you get into the game of basketball?
Yeah, I'm from Kenya. I came through Big Dream Visions. It's an organization based in America, but they help kids back in Kenya to develop their talents, and mostly orphans and kids who are not able to follow their dreams.
Okay. So it's kind of like an agency, and they place you.
No, really. They just help kids to pursue their dreams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So your game is, you're a forward kind of center type player? You play on the inside?
Yes.
Okay.
On the outside.
Okay. And when did you start playing basketball?
I started playing basketball in 2016.
Really? So just 5 years ago, you just started playing basketball.
Yeah.
Can I assume that it was soccer before that or something else?
I used to run. Track.
Runners. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what have you learned, being over here with the, Bryant and Stratton team and being in the States and your new teammates? What have you learned so far?
I've learned the possibilities of growing and opportunities and the exposure. I've learned teamwork with them. I've learned a lot from them, especially basketball-wise. They are more skilled than where I come from and where I've been. So I've learned a lot in terms of basketball.
That's great. Yeah. Now I love your accent, by the way, and I don't know what the native language is from your home country, but did you learn English there?
Yeah.
You did, okay.
Yes, it's our national language, but we speak Kiswahili.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Swahili is more.
That's a Jeopardy question, right? You put that on Jeopardy? Final question that I have for you is, what are you studying and what do you hope to do down the road here?
Yeah, I'm pursuing associate degree in accounting.
Accounting. That's a grind.
Yeah.
You're working hard at that one. Yeah.
And I hope to go pro in basketball.
Good.
As well as pursue my dream in accounting as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. Eunice Silong, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And I'll see you here all winter long for some basketball.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward for the games.
You bet.
I'm excited.
Here we are at Bryant and Stratton College Women's Basketball Media Day for the Syracuse outfit. We have brought along Janaye Gables here. Can you believe the season's starting? Oh, my goodness.
It's quick. We're a couple weeks away from our first game in November 8th. It went really fast.
Yeah, it's not that far away. What kind of friendships have you formed with your teammates?
Most of us are close. We see each other every day because we're on campus together and stuff. We joke around. It's cool.
Do you have a lot of tough classes? What are you taking?
I'm taking, my major is criminal justice.
Oh, wow.
And the classes aren't really hard right now.
They'll get harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Math is probably the biggest struggle right now, but I'm getting through it.
the final thing I have for you is, where are you from, and when did you get started playing the game of basketball?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
I started playing around...
New York City, the greatest city of them all.
I started playing around 12 or 11.
Okay.
But nothing really too serious, like playing in the parks. And then I went to high school in Syracuse, and I started playing.
Oh, wow. Where was high school?
Nottingham High School.
Oh, Nottingham. Yeah, I've done a lot of games there. So Brooklyn, you know, New York's such a rich basketball place. You played all the parks. Have you ever been to Rucker Park?
No.
You haven't been to Rucker?
Not yet.
What parks did you play at?
I played at most of the parks in Bushwick,
Okay.
Linden
Yep.
parks, stuff
Okay.
like that.
Very cool. Well, look, good luck this season. Janaye Gables, appreciate the time. We'll see you in the gym here in a few weeks.
Thank you.
All right. Here we are at Bryant and Stratton College Women's Basketball Media Day for the Syracuse outfit. Jehiah Cook is with us, and I hear that you played at UNLV.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So talk about that experience a little bit, and in terms of being here with the Bobcats, how does that translate into what you're trying to do here in Central New York?
The level of play was a little different, atmosphere a little different than a lot. Let me say a lot.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah.
But here I'm trying to. I went there for 3 years. Here I'm trying to basically be All-American, go hard, hopefully play overseas, go to the league if that's an option.
And by league, you mean WNBA?
WNBA
eventually?
overseas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing that is happening in the game today is the center position is basically gone at all levels. It's all swing and wing and, combo guards and dribble drive and all that sort of thing. Where do you fit into the game today? How it operates? Are you a guard forward? Do you kind of see yourself as an all around kind of Swiss Army knife? How do you play the game?
It's funny because growing up I was strictly point guard. That was it. Playing D1 basketball, you obviously have to learn how to play the post because, it's bigger girls,
Sure.
It's guards that play post. So you have to learn post defense, which I've learned. Actually, Coach Sherman, in practice, put me at the 4 a couple of times. Had me guard the 4 a couple of times, guard the 5. So I'm pretty much all around.
All right, I like it. And you're from?
California, Vallejo, California. Went to high school
Valley
in Sacramento.
Joe? Is that what I heard?
Vallejo Valley Joe.
Yeah.
Who told you that? Him?
Maybe.
That is.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, Vallejo, California. That's how you pronounce it.
So you are not prepared for the winters.
No.
So do you have winter coats? Do you have clothing? Because it gets pretty ridiculous around these parts, okay?
I have coats. I don't have any boots. That's the only thing I don't.
So you need waterproof boots. You need great gloves. And you need
gloves too. They didn't tell me that.
They didn't tell me the gloves. That's what I'm here for.
Helping me out.
That's what I'm here for. And then you need a really nice wool beanie winter cap. Go over your ears, over the earlobes if you've got them, and make sure that happens. Final thing that I have for you is what kind of connections have you made with your teammates so far? And how about the on-campus experience in terms of what you're studying? How about that? The student life sort of thing so far. And a lot of that with your teammates, obviously.
As far as my teammates, I feel like we click. Everybody click for the most part. It's a little different because the levels, with Division I, not knocking any of my teammates because they're all great players, great athletes. But it's just a little different, the expectations, I should say. So I'm just trying to be a leader for those who want to, step it up, guide them, help them as much as I can as a teammate. And as far as my major, I'm business major.
Cool.
Before I came here, I was actually training kids. When I left UNLV, after I left, I took some time off, started training kids, ended up getting pretty good amount of clients. So then I was that's when Coach Sherman reached out to me. That's when I was like, why not?
I like it. I always I know I said this was the last question, but I'm always intrigued by all the sneakers that everybody wears these days. You're okay. So what's funny, though, is that I see a lot of people wearing the Jordan brand all over the place, and it's crazy because you ladies and guys with the Bobcats and everywhere else I go, you're half my age, and you didn't even see Michael Jordan play.
Right.
And you're wearing the Jordan brand. So that just gives me another layer of how unbelievably huge that guy.
See, I'm a bit. He definitely have an impact.
The
on
global
everybody.
impact, generational.
I agree.
Oh man, I mean, it's
agree.
unbelievable. Well, look, Jehiah Cook, this has been amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Good luck, and we'll see you soon on the hard court.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Back with you here at Bryant and Stratton College Women's Basketball Media Day. We are here with Michaela Eichorst, and we're starting. I can't believe it's October. I'm sure you're probably looking
crazy.
Right. It's insane. So, what have you done to prepare for this season? What was your off season like? Did you do? Obviously we're still dealing with coronavirus. So, are you? Was training different? What did you do from a physical standpoint to prepare?
Everything with COVID was just hard. I mean, living in the country, I mean, we don't have as much opportunity as kids coming from the city or other places around the world. I mean, I just ran the block. I mean, I did what I could. Went to the local park, played with some kids. I mean, that's all we really have out by us.
Pick up games left and right.
Yes.
So where are you from?
I'm from Pitcher, New York, near Cincinnati.
Okay. All right. When did you first kind of start playing basketball?
I started playing when I was little with my brothers and sisters. We were currently living in Wisconsin. We played at school, and then I've just gone all the way up.
What can you say about your teammates? Who have you forged friendships with?
The girls here today, just everybody's amazing. I love every single one of them. And we have a special bond. Every single one of us, we do everything together, and we never leave anyone out.
What are you studying?
I'm studying accounting. I think it's something that's good to know.
That's a grind, though.
It is hard.
If you get into it.
Yeah. Once you know what you're doing and once you get your foot into it, you're good to go.
Yeah, no doubt. Final question for you. What have you talked about with Coach Clay in terms of, the season and his expectations of you?
Just being big and protecting our basket and getting back on defense.
I love it. Michaela, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Here we are with Mo Johnson from the Bobcats women's basketball team, Syracuse, New York. You come from Virginia. Are you prepared for the winters?
No, I am not.
What do you have? You have coats, gloves. What have they told you to get?
Everything. Thermals.
You have everything?
No, not yet. I don't get them.
All right. Well, it's 75 now, but I'll tell you that within weeks, it will be 25.
I know when I first came up here, the first workout outside, it was very cold.
Yeah.
Had them jacket, pants, running.
Yeah, no doubt. Get into your history a little bit here. I mean, you were at Bryant and Stratton in Virginia.
Yes.
Now you're up in upstate New York, but, what was your time like there, and when did you start playing the game of basketball?
I always played the game of basketball ever since I was little.
Okay.
I took it serious. I always took it serious. And at Bryant and Stratton in Virginia, it went well, but I just wanted different scenery for college experience. So my coach said that Coach Sherman had wanted me up here, so I just came up here to see the different experience and living style.
And you obviously have friends from your old team, and now you've forged new friendships here. So what has it been like with this group?
They've been fun. They've been mad cool. They've been the same type of friends I had back at home, just different people.
Gotcha. Mo Johnson, good luck.
Thank you.
The ML Sports Platter brought to you by Stanley Law Offices and Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. Let's bring him in. He is a former Ohio State star, a 7-year NFL linebacker, and he currently is the co-host of a tremendous show, Morning Juice. You can get him on Twitter at bcarp3. That's at bcarp, the number 3, and bobbycarpenter.com. Does color work for the ACC network as well, and is a contributor for Outkick. Bobby Carpenter, this is tremendous. Thank you for coming on. It was awesome to meet you at the Carrier Dome. How are you, sir?
Oh, it was my pleasure. It was an awesome experience up there. Carrier Dome was, renovations were fantastic. Really enjoyed my first experience up there.
Let's start. We're going to kind of just go all over the board here a little bit with football, but I wanted to ask you a couple of Q's questions. Number one, when you watch Sean Tucker run the football, what do you see?
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, sure, being Syracuse, you got some New York Giants fans there. But he reminds me of a guy who I played against in college when he was, Marshall was a freshman, and then a number of times when he was with the Giants when I was playing for the Cowboys. He has a very Ahmad Bradshaw-esque running style to him. very powerful with his cuts. He can pull through tackles. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's got, really big legs, strong legs, and you can see him kind of be able to shift and move and find spaces and lanes because of all that. And that's what's really impressive. So everybody loves the comp, and I'm sitting there watching, like, man, who does this guy remind me of? And all of a sudden it just hit me. I'm like, the guy was pretty darn good. He was pretty tough to tackle there for a number of years. And I think it's a pretty good comparison kind of on their size and build, and even to a great extent their running style.
What do you think of the future of SU football? I mean, the fan base is kind of down again. As we record this, they just lost against Wake Forest. It was a tough loss. They lost the week before that to Florida State. They could easily be maybe 4-2, 5-1, 6-0. We know that the sports 6-0. It's probably a little unrealistic, right? But certainly could have a winning record. And now they have to face Clemson. They've got other games coming up. What is the state of this program right now, in your opinion?
Well, I think it's tough. There's a number of factors. Like it's been a long time since they've been able to kind of recruit at a pretty high level and had some of those elite NFL players. And as you walk through the halls up there, I mean, the guys that I played against in the NFL, but grew up watching, the Donovan McNabbs, the Dwight Freeze, the Marvin Harrisons, like Keith Bullock. I mean, just some of those great players. A lot of there with Paul plus Lindsley. It's tough, to get guys to go to their cold weather schools, and especially it's not a metro environment now. So if you're trying to recruit kids from New York and New Jersey, to go all the way up, I mean, it can be a little bit rough. Now, they renovated the Carrier Dome, which I think helps a lot. Guys like great facilities, and that's a big piece, being able to play and wanting to be in a nice environment. But they've got to continue to pour money into the program. But you've got to start getting some signature wins. You felt like, Babers was doing that at first, kind of slowed off. But, beating Wake Forest would have been nice. I mean, they're the last remaining unbeaten in the ACC. And if you would have got that win, like, that kind of puts – Cuse back up on the headlines and puts them, in the forefront. And you've got to have that presence now. And I feel like if you want to be able to have success where, kids are able to see you, you're on Sports Center, you're kind of out there in front where everybody can see it. And I think that really matters.
Bobby Carpenter, our guest here on the ML Sports Platter, of course, the former Ohio State superstar, national champion in 2002, and played in the NFL for multiple teams. We'll get into a little bit of your career, Bobby. I remember like it was yesterday watching you play and loved watching you play, especially in college. Can you give me an idea of how you see this college football playoff taking form here? I mean, this is when Alabama loses, everybody's jaw obviously just sits on the floor because it just doesn't happen that often. They lose to A&M. Georgia looks strong. Your Buckeyes are in the mix. How does this play out?
Gosh, I wish if I knew that, I probably quit my job. I'd go to Vegas. I'd put all the money I had on it. You'll be able to pick the Final Four teams and address it. This is crazy. I just ended up doing my piece for Outkick this week of, recording all the craziness that's going to happen. Like, I think ultimately Notre Dame, and they're kind of tangentially related to the SEC or the ACC. I think they're going to probably finish 10-2. Like their schedule isn't overly tough. I think Blacksburg on Friday night was probably maybe their toughest remaining test. Stanford just got bludgeoned by Arizona State, so on primetime stage, like they're not probably going to be a test at the end of the year. USC, I mean, they're struggling mightily. There's just a lot of issues that they're going to be dealing with, or that these teams are playing or dealing with. So I think Notre Dame ultimately probably goes, 10-2. And I'm like, why is that important? Well, Cincinnati wins out, and Notre Dame's 10-2, and they played like they did against them. They're getting in. Like that's the reality of it. Because of what they did against Georgia last year. And so you have to start looking around. Like the ACC, it doesn't look like they'll get a team in. Pac-12, like Stanford losing that hurts Oregon. They're going to need, their loss to kind of hold up, and they're also going to need some teams to, be good out there to be able to kind of give them weight with some of their victories. And you have so many teams from the Big Ten East, and 5 from the Big Ten ranked in the top 10. Like Bama just lost. OU won, but you feel like they could lose at any given week now. So I think what we're starting to see now is a lot of the issues from COVID, where guys weren't playing as much, and you've got some super seniors on other teams. And if you get down into the depth of some of these squads and they have some injuries, like it's just really hard for them to be able to produce players like they did before, when they weren't able to get as much practice in leading in. So, like, this year, to me, it's going to be as difficult to pick as anybody. I think some of the teams are probably starting to hit their stride right now. Like, that's going to help. Like, Ohio State, they were left for dead after Oregon, and I didn't think they'd have a shot, and they're starting to finally play some good football. So as they play the Penn State, the Michigan State, the Michigans, we'll see if they have enough. But, it's going to be interesting. I think probably going into November, it'll be the most uncertain it's been in a long time since 2014 of who's going to potentially make the playoff.
So you're an Ohio guy. You were born in the state. You went to Lancaster High School. And so you know from the earliest of ages what Ohio State football is all about. The program, the history, the legends, all that sort of thing. How did you end up at Ohio State? How did you decide that was the place for you? You wanted to stay in your home state. And on top of that, how did you deal with growing up in a place nearby where, the expectations and they're there. The minute you say yes to that and go there, you've got a ton of pressure. It's almost like a mini NFL at Ohio State.
Yeah, I guess you look back on that now and think that was maybe one of the reasons I was not necessarily worried of going there, but I wasn't the biggest Ohio State fan growing up. And so, I was kind of looking at all my options and trying to figure it out and look at it objectively. I looked at a lot of different schools, across the country, and I wanted to be close to home, and they had a great program, great facilities. I knew I'd get coached really well. But the pressure, it all comes down from wanting to succeed. Internal pressure has always been greater on me, for me than external pressure. And that's the case with, I think, a lot of great competitors. They could give two craps about what people say, especially if it's good. Like, they're trying to focus on the bad stuff that they have to improve on and knowing where they're at. And so I think, you hear this now, and kids probably see it more because of social media and the internet and everything else that goes into it. But I still believe that they're, most of these players, like, they put a lot of the pressure on themselves because they've wanted to be good for so long. And now that they get this opportunity, it's like, okay, you just want to take advantage of it for yourself, maybe for your family, and everything else. It's out there, but I don't know if it really plays into as much as people think.
What's it feel like when you win a national championship? What's going through your body when you're a champion?
Gosh, I was so young when it happened. It was my first year.
You were a true freshman. You kicked ass as a true freshman. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, we played all right. I played a decent amount, but it's, you don't really know what you don't know. Like, that's the thing about young people. You don't know what you don't know. And I didn't realize, I thought that was, hey, you win every close game. We won every close game that we played in. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until later in my career you start to experience some heartbreak. Like, next year we were a better team and lost a close one to Wisconsin and got beat pretty good by Michigan. And then we lost a close one my senior year to Texas that potentially would have put us back there as well. And you don't know what you don't know. And so you experience that jubilation, that excitement. I appreciated watching my brother win one on the staff in 2014, probably more just knowing how hard it was to get there and watching them, respond, come back from a difficult loss. But that's, I think, when you're young, like, it just seems like that's the way that it's supposed to be. And it's fun, it's exciting, but gosh, I wish I would be able to go back there and kind of savor that night a little bit more.
Cowboys, Dolphins, Lions, Patriots in the NFL. I'm sure the first time you put the Buckeyes uniform, and I should mention, I guess, Rams as well. I think you were a practice squad guy that year, or it was kind of like an off-season deal. But as far as the Ohio State uniform, and then the Cowboy uniform, and the Patriots had already started to form the dynasty. They're a decade into this thing, plus. Compare those uniforms, putting them on for the first time. Ohio State, New England, Cowboys. How is it similar? Was there a difference?
Oh, it's a huge difference. I mean, it's a job. You're putting on a uniform to go work. You're getting paid to provide a service. And, it's great. The Cowboys, iconic jersey, Patriots, there's some, there was some really cool stuff, involved in all that. But, still at the end, I mean, like I said, you're getting paid to do a job. And so that's ultimately what it kind of comes down to, with everything is, if you don't perform, they're getting rid of you. In college, you put an Ohio State jersey on, that's a big deal. That matters a lot. So I think that's probably where things were a little bit different. where it's a place you chose to go. It's a place you ultimately wanted to go, and you put that on, and you're representing all the people that kind of played before you and wore those numbers and everything else like that.
Couple more quick ones for Bobby Carpenter, the former star of Ohio State, to multiple teams in the NFL, now a college football analyst and co-host of the Morning Juice on 97.1 The Fan. Tom Brady. What has made Tom Brady, how has he separated himself? What's so different about Brady that you saw up close?
I think it's his relentless desire to improve and succeed. I mean, usually people get to be good, and then it's easy to not work quite as hard. There's the successes like martinis that'll kind of relax you, and it's tough to be as passionate as you were and as grind as hard as you were to sacrifice the same way. But you know what? He never has stopped. He's always tried to find an edge. He's always pushed forward and tried to get done what he could, and he just works at it each and every day like it's his first day on the job. And he's the most humble guy in the world, greatest teammate you're going to find. I think that's pretty much it. I couldn't ask for a guy that I would have enjoyed playing with more, who I was very surprised when I met him. I'd heard good things, but I was just totally blown away, by what type of human he was.
All right, final thing. When you were calling that Syracuse Liberty game at the Carrier Dome, your play-by-play guy was Drew Carter. You guys had awesome chemistry. Drew is an up-and-coming superstar. I mean, when I listen to him, I think he's been in the business for 15 years. He's so good at what he does, the detail and all that sort of thing. What are your impressions of him as a broadcaster?
I emailed some people at ESPN right away. We called 2 games together for the last 2 weeks. I said, hey, this guy's really good. He's really impressive, and I'm not super versed in working with people on in live game broadcasts. I've worked with, been around Stephen A. and Mike Greenberg and, but Randy Scott doing Sports Center, all these different guys, that are really, really impressive, like Laura Rutledge. I mean, all of them. And even Tesstor doing, a mega cast with him. And it was impressive to see, because I'm like, this guy has, there's still obviously development that needs to happen, but you can see talent and skill right away in what he's able to do, and how composed he is. And it was even more impressive because it was him returning to his alma mater for the first time. And there's an element of pressure with that as well, for him having to go out there and perform, and with a lot of eyes of everyone kind of staring at him to make sure that everything he did was going to be under the microscope. And he performed at a big time level, and it was really, really impressive.
Well, he spent 7 years in the NFL as a linebacker and, of course, a great career at Ohio State, college football analyst currently, BobbyCarpenter.com, a contributor for Outkick, and co-host of the Morning Juice on 97.1 The Fan. And be on the lookout for him on television, including the ACC network, at BCarp3 on Twitter, at BCarp3. Bobby, so appreciative of the time. It was awesome to meet you in Central New York. Continued success your way.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
The ML Sports Platter is brought to you by Barks and Rec Doggy Daycare, Rosie's Corner, Liverpool Physical Therapy, Prestwick Golf, and our great friends over at the Vince Aguirre Consulting Group. Log on today to vcgtransforms.com. Become a better leader both personally and professionally. Huge tip of the cap thank you as well to Brian Comboy of Mass Mutual in New York State and the Swan and Whitaker families. Huge tip of the cap also. Thank yous go out to all of the women's basketball players of Bryant and Stratton College, Syracuse, as well as Bobby Carpenter. This is the ML Sports Platter. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L. Sports. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.